We're going to show you how to do an install on a Kia Soul, a 2010. The 2010 and 2011 Kia Souls are identical virtually. We've got both. We have a black and a white. One's a 2010, one's a 2011. This motor here now, even though it's a 2010 body, it's got a 2011 motor. And so, but anyway, we're going to show you how to do an install on a starter. So all you got to do is follow the reverse process and you'll see how to take it out, right? So that's what we're going to do right now. There are two bolts on the starter, and the starter solenoid is right here, and so it's going to come all the way forward, and we're just rotating it around until we get to the screw holes. The first one is on top here. Get my hand to put that in. I can't. Once you get it started, it ain't a big deal, but getting that first bolt in there. Okay, first one's there. I'm not going to tighten it down much, so I can still have a little play for the second one. The second one's directly on the front side, closest to the fan, and they're number 14s. You know, being Japanese cars or South Korean. In this sense, they're going to be all millimeter, not standard. Okay. All I'm doing is hand tightening them until they won't go anymore, and then we're going to put the number 14 on it. We bought it on eBay, and we used their little does it fit part verifier, which they said it fit and it didn't, so we went by AutoZone and they got us one that actually fit, but it cost twice the money, you know. But it does, this one does have a a lifetime warranty on it. Once you've got those two bolts right there, you know, on there, good and firm, and I mean, you're not going to break those bolts with, you know, a wrench, and I could use a ratchet wrench on the bottom side, but only an open end on the top side because due to the transmission. This is a manual, by the way, but putting in starters is going to be basically the same on any vehicle. Now that we got our bolts in and it's mounted in, I mean, it's good and firm. We're going to put our main line from the battery, and the battery is unhooked, by the way. You really want to make sure that you get your battery unhooked when you're fooling with this. You don't want. Well, this is the main line for the battery. Okay, here, right on top, this is your starter solenoid, right? Right down here, there's another bolt, and it comes with a lock washer and a nut. Take those off, and then your line coming from your starter, or from your battery, pardon me, goes on that post right there. And so when you turn the key, it sends juice to this, and then the starter solenoid, when you turn the ignition, it tells it with the juice to go ahead and turn the motor. And in here is your flywheel, and your starter turns your flywheel, then your car turns over. That's basically what's happening. Now you want that lock washer on top of there because you don't want this thing to work off over time. It's a 13. Don't ask me why they did 13. I don't recall it being 13 on the original, but it doesn't matter. As long as you got the wrench. This one you just want to get it down. It's got a lock washer. You're not going to tighten it like you did the other bolts just then. This one you just want it firm. And I just do it to where my hand is just where it's just where, you know, I'm not putting like pressure on it. I don't know exactly how to describe it. Just, you know, I'm not just like my finger. It's firm, and you can't screw it off. It's got a lock washer. It's going to be all right. So those two are on. Now, here is your electronic wire coming to your. Need to hear a click, and we just heard a click. Yeah, so we're good there. And then there is another wire that I have to track down as well. That is not it. This is it right here. And the good thing about these connectors is that they're all different. So you're not going to, I've never seen one where I get them in the wrong hole on this Kia. So, okay, that's in also. So we're good there. So we got that one and this one. Now, all right, you're going to be left with this one, and it goes here to your air intake manifold, okay? So that's where that's going to go. That's why I didn't see it when it was down here a minute ago. So, all right, let's see. So now we're going to put our air intake manifold back on, and all you're doing is going to be lining up these holes, and these are O-rings on here, and it just fits in really, really sleek. But we're going to take out. We're going to take out the oil dipstick because it actually going to go right over the top of it. The oil dipstick goes through here. So we're going to move. This is all part of the injection. These are your injectors right here. And so, you know, you don't want to be yanking around on everything. You want to, you know, take your time. This has kind of got to lift out a little bit. And trying to see, this is going to go right here. So we're going to have to, what we're going to do is kind of turn it in sideways. And we're going to bring, we want to make sure we get this tube here. This is air, right? And you can see it's going to go right here. But I'm going to turn this right here. And we're going to now start working to get the air intake to slide in. See how the oil dipstick goes right there? And then you got a post right here. Now these may come out on your car. One of mine didn't come out. And so anyway, it may be that way standard on every car, but that gives you're lining up these two holes right there. So that's it. See, you're against the air intake manifold, and your hose is right here. We're going to leave this off for a minute because I'm going to plier that over. But you know, a real basic thing behind cars is that you need air, fire, and fuel to get that thing going. And this is, in that sense, when you take this air intake off, this is your air. So that's what you're dealing with there. Now we got another. We're going to have another hose. There's the other hose right here. We want to get it underneath because we're going to go right over to here with it. You can see it. You got one right there. Before we start putting everything down, we got one there, and then now there should be another hose. Okay, it's going to be on the throttle side of things, and so we're not ready to put the throttle on yet. What we're going to do is put the bolts in for the air intake. You're dealing with 4 or 5 of these bolts. There's one there, one there, one there. So it's low, high, low, high, low, 6. And they're just up and down diagonally. They're in between, basically on the edges, and then in between your air intake. Okay? And no easy way to do it. You are going to need a socket with a little bit of an extension. And that's it. And then, you know, you're going to need a number 12 extension. And what I do, just like a spark plug when you're putting it in, I put it in and I get it going first. I don't really try to force it or horse it, because you don't want to get the threads wrong. You know what I'm saying? You want to get them going in the right way, and so it's easier just to can't quite tell what the right angle is, but that's right, because it's turning. Once it's free turning, you know, you'll be alright. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put this one down too. I think that one's a little tighter. I'm going to make sure I got this one. Okay. If you, these are a little, the worst one to lose was that middle one, and this one right here. They drop down in there, and I've done it plenty of times. All right, and then the last one, and then we'll tighten them up. And I'm not using my pounds or anything like that. I'm just tightening them up firm. You can over tighten these types of things, so you know, if you're worried about it, use your torque wrench. I just get them firm. I don't over tighten stuff. Alright, we're going to put the dipstick back in. Just can't get that in very well with the dipstick on there. So it's back on. We tightened up our 6 bolts here and used a number 12 with an extension, and I used a small one just because I'm hand tightening them, and I can get in there and they're all good and tight. So it is there. I mean, if you need to go back and tighten them up some, you can. We got our starter in, and we got our electrical connections to this point, but we need to go ahead and get that last air intake. I saw it a minute ago, and I'm trying to think where it is, because I should have put it on before I put it down in there. There you go. There's your something to remember. Put your air on before you pull it up and out. The connector for this air intake, if you want to wait until you get it on, it's going to be right there. So that's where you want to go with it. Yeah, I got it. I see it. Yeah, that's where it is in there. And so all our wires, all that to that part, are all connected. So now we're going to put the throttle housing back on, and we're going to go that route. So now we're putting the throttle back on. This is the, I believe this is the fuel hose. Coming to it. Yeah, it's right. Let me use my little pointer. It's right here, coming into the throttle, and you just put that little hose right there back onto the metal tube. Okay, and now I'm gonna move that clamp down, just like any other hose, just like this one right here. See, look up top. Here's the air. You just want to put this air back on, and this hose, that clamp down there for that line has the same type of clamp here, and that just holds it on. There's a little lip on it, and it's the same thing down here. So there's no mystery to it. You just sliding it down and pinning it on. If you want to come over here at the top, Joe, I think you'll be able to see what I'm doing a little better. All I'm doing is sliding that clip down, and I got to get the hose to go back onto. Alright, so we're taking our 4 screws and we're going to put our throttle housing back on. And all you're doing is going to get those little old bolts started. I think they're number 10s. I'll double check that in a minute. And let's see, I think there's another one right here. There are 4 of them. You just gotta hit the hole. Okay. The other 2 are where you can't really see them. You're just going to have to feel for them. The other one is easier to find, I believe, because it's right here. So there's 1 up, 1 down on each side. And they are 10s. Absolutely are 10s. There it is right there. Alright, we got the 4. Now we're going to tighten those up and get number 10. So, now you're just going to tighten these up. And again, you don't want to over tighten, just get them snug. Don't go crazy. You can get the torque measurements out and do it that way. That's always the best way to do it. I'm just snugging them up where they're on there firm. Somebody's working. One of the things about this throttle, I took it off, but I didn't unhook anything just because there's so much involved in it, and I know it's a pain to get to these hoses, but this is the coolant system, and I don't want to be messing with that. And you don't have to. You can unhook all that if you want to. I just don't do it. If it ain't broke, I just leave it alone and keep going. We're about to start. What I'm going to do, since it's so far, I'm going to get it snug, and then we'll, yep. Just trying to get it on there. Yep. Okay, there we go. Alright, now we'll do the same thing here. And the other one, just hand tighten it until it's snug. I'm going to go ahead and do that with the other one. Well, no, I'm going to. Okay. And then the last one is down here right underneath. Hard to see. I mean, it's right. Well, there we go. Okay. so those are still on there. Okay, here's. See, okay, I put that clip back on and that hose right there. Okay, now we're going to do this one underneath here. I got the alternator. I'd taken that off. It's now plugged back in. And down here at the bottom, just right behind the belt, is the AC. And I plugged it in, and that's just so I wouldn't pull them when I was pulling out the air intake. So now they were hanging there. All the plugs are back in over here also, so we're good. Now we're going to put the breather hose back on, and this is going to go from here to here. There are 2 bolts. There's one here and there's one here, and they're number 10s, and so I'm going to put these back on, and then I will connect this hose right to there. Alright, so I'll show you what it looks like when I get it on. Once you get these where they're you can still turn them, but you just want them where you can't pull them off, okay? And there's one down here, the other end that I showed you, and there's one up here, and this is just, you know, this is your air filter coming in here. Right down here is where you change out your air filter. Pop these and then pull this off. But here's your air intake hose. You want that on there, and then you want to put your hose clamp back on where it was. Alright, so now we're ready to put these two. We're going to put these 2 little old bolts back in here, right here and here. That's for your that's right on top of your fuel injectors there. And then we're going to put our battery cable back on, and our 2 battery cables, and I think that's it, but I'll check and let you know. We got Joe up there blocking. Now, on this little piece right here is a screw, and this holds this wire in place right there. And so you just want to put a little old 10mm bolt that you'll find. It's at the bottom of your air intake manifold, and you'll find it when you're taking it out. It's going to hang on you, so you'll need to take out that bolt, and then like I'm doing, I'm going to put it back in. It goes right there, and that just holds this. It's a sensor. That's what it is. It's a sensor to the manifold. Anyway, it's right there. All right, there you go. That's where it goes. 10mm bolt. All right, here we go. There. Change your starter. Save yourself some money. Watch ordering that sucker online though. I want to say a big thank you out there to all of you who watch our videos. Be sure and comment, and an extra special thank you to everybody that supports us on Patreon. Allen Brothers.